All right, this is the largest NFL Trend Zone guest list that we've had to date. This is about, 7 or 8 souls on the show tonight, and we are here for the purposes of bringing you a mock draft, and we're not sure how long it's going to go. If we can get through 3-4 rounds in an hour, that's handy dandy. If we start bloviating and it only goes 1 round, so be it. But we have a predetermined order. We're going to go through the whole shebang. We're not doing trades only because I think that we would waste time doing that, and it's really a complete guessing game on trades. So we're going to go in the raw organic sense, and that means that, Abby, you're on the clock with the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 1. Surprise, surprise, who do they take?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. All right.
I don't think that needs explanation.
Yeah, we'll get into explanations, I guess, brief ones for picks that aren't obvious. But let's go to Drew at number 2 for the New York Jets.
Zach Wilson. I mailed him the playbook last week.
All right, fantastic. Now, this is where it actually gets fun and interesting, and I'll point out that the number 4 spot is especially pivotal. And so is the Broncos spot, because if they take a quarterback, then indeed we might have 5 off the board. But who cares? Let's go. Number 3. Let's see who is up for the Sanford. That's Cody, 49ers. Alas, who are they taking?
So I mocked Trey Lance to San Fran in my most recent mock, but probably they're going to take Mac Jones.
You're buying into that, huh? I've tried to convince myself that that's true, but I, for the life of me, can't understand it. All right, so then that takes Jones. Let me get that off my board. Who is up next?
I think it's you.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. All right. So again, for listeners, this is what we predict will happen, not necessarily what we think is right. Otherwise, that'd be a completely different show. So I am at the Atlanta Falcons, and I don't think Matt Ryan is kaput, just because the team has played poorly for the past couple of years. He gets blamed for it. So I am going to go with the surefire thing and Kyle Pitts to the Atlanta Falcons. Up next is the Bengals.
I think that's me.
Oh, is that? Yeah.
Yep, that's Ron. And then Tanishka, you're at the Dolphins. So Ron, the Bengals, settle the debate, please. Offensive tackle or wide receiver?
So I think as glamorous as the Jamar Chase and Burrow reuniting would be, I think you have an investment in a young quarterback, the number 1 pick last year, who has suitable weapons on the outside. I think Sewell is the only answer here if the board falls this way.
All right, so you're locking it in, Sewell?
Locking it in with Sewell.
Okay, and then for the rest of the participants tonight, that's like what he just did was like the perfect little spiel, because we don't want to just read off names and be done. Otherwise, people can read that or do that themselves. So you can give a little bit of context like that if that's okay. No pressure. Tanishka, that is the Dolphins at number 6. What do you got?
I got Jamar Chase because the Dolphins signed Will Fuller, so he's kind of like their deep threat speed guy, and Chase is the perfect complement to that.
Okay, fantastic. Well, then that'll give Tua weaponry that he will so crave in his sophomore campaign. And my co-host, Wesley Johnson, what do we got for the Lions? When you look at their team needs, depending on the website you're on, yeah, it's like a roster. It's like they basically need a depth chart.
In this case, because they lost so much at the wide receiver position in free agency, they will go Devonta Smith from Alabama.
Oh, okay, so that's a little bit of a curveball. But yeah, I was telling a coworker actually that depending on who's throwing the football, they have Brashard Perryman, Tyrell Williams, and who's the other one, Wes? Who's their wide receiver 3? It's some other dude. No, it's another guy that actually has a name. Anyhow, it's somebody that you're like, if it's Mahomes throwing or Russell Wilson, they're like, yeah, it's a pretty good core. But if it's like Goff, average Goff, then they need a bunch of help. It's kind of strange, and it's fantasy hell as well. So, all right. So that means, if I'm not mistaken, we're at the top of the snake again with Abby and the Panthers. Is that right?
Yep.
All right, sir. What do you got for the Panthers?
I think the Panthers will be going with JC Horn.
Oh, okay.
They need more help on the defense, and he's probably the best cornerback.
Okay, let me find that. Dang it. All right. Well, I'll have to find that in just a second here. This one's being a little goofy for me. That brings us to Andrew and the Broncos.
Yeah, so if we're playing this as if the board has fallen like this, if I'm John Elway, I fall out of my chair and I draft Justin Fields like yesterday. Again, I mailed him a playbook last week. I'm taking Justin Fields at 9. I think that's great value there.
Really? Okay. So
Drew Lock's not the guy. He's not a lock. People have been looking at them to make some sort of a move there. Traditionally at 9, I don't think they thought any of the top quarterbacks would be there. Maybe Trey Lance, but I had him pegged going at 8. There were some rumors for a trade there. I know that that's not what we're doing here, but it was between this and Parsons, and I think at that value they'll take Fields.
Okay, well, finally found JC Horn. Thank God. All right, so now I can account for him, and you've got Fields to Broncos.
Yep.
My goodness, that would make our usual host Jason Bowen pretty happy. I think, even though he's a lock guy, I think he wouldn't complain about this one. Let's see. So that brings us to the Cowboys, who most folks on the planet think it's certain. Is that to me again? No, that's Cody. Cody, what do you got for the Cowboys?
Yeah. Certain's the pick here. They just need help in the secondary, and to pair him with Diggs, give a nice formidable 1-2 punch there in the secondary.
Okay. So let's see here. That is certain indeed. So we follow the usual gig. And the Lions are another team with a depth chart's worth of needs based on most of the criteria that shows that they are deficient. Oh boy, this is where it really starts to get interesting. I hate to do this for a lot of our favorite teams out there, but I will take Rashawn Slater for the Giants. He feels like he's close to a sure thing, and that's my personal want for the Vikings at 14. But as a Vikings fan, your hopes are usually trashed. So I'm going with Slater. And then who's next for the Eagles?
That would be me. So barring if this again how the board plays out, I think actually the Eagles learned their lesson last year, and they need to get playmakers, and this year I think they need to get the right one. Now I'm not saying that he is, but in this scenario, I think Jalen Waddle gives them that outside threat that they thought they were getting out of Rieger, but who knows? Maybe between one of the two, they'll add weapons there, but that'll help the young quarterback.
All right, Waddle to the Eagles.
Yep.
All right, Tanishka, this puts you with the Chargers.
Okay, I am going Darrisaw here because I think they have Trey Pipkins starting at left tackle right now, and that's not an ideal situation. So Justin Herbert needs protection, so Darrisaw.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's see. So Darrisaw is off the board. Is Pipkins? I think he's the guy that's from my hometown, Sioux Falls. That's interesting for anybody that cares. Wes, then you are faced with, it's no secret that most of the folks on this call, if not all of them, are fans of the Vikings. And you have Trey Lance, Micah Parsons, and Jalen Phillips, Caleb Farley staring you in the face. And again, a reminder, this is what you
There's
think.
only one right answer.
This is what you think Rick Spielman will do, not what you want. So you've got a mighty, mighty task here, sir.
Yeah, I think, I wrote that article about the brothers Bruin just earlier in the week. Anthony Barr, he'll be a free agent next year. So I think Micah Parsons makes a lot of sense.
All right, so we need to pause because the Vikings passed on Trey Lance. So we need to let that sink in for a minute. Zimmer goes defense evidently again with Parsons. And how did we get here? How did Lance fall to the Vikings? What happened enabled that to happen? Because it's interesting. Anytime that I mention it, it's like, oh, he won't be there. And there are reasonable brains on here that obviously didn't script the draft to get Lance to the Vikings. Otherwise, we just would have effing picked him. So what happened? Who didn't pick a quarterback?
Atlanta.
Atlanta was the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
Yeah,
then,
that's the big one. And then 7 and 8
Team's
spot
probably
as
going to
well.
trade up.
okay, and nobody. Yeah, that's another thing. Nobody traded up, which somebody
Right.
will. And the Lions decided that they'd rather have wide receiver than quarterback. So yeah, if you want an example of how this can happen, it's really not crazy. Although Washington or somebody will probably trade up into that 7 to 8, 9 region. But anywho, that puts us at the back of the snake, Abby, with the New England Patriots.
Speaking of Trey Lance,
Bada bing. All right.
Bill Belichick can get his quarterback. I think he's going to.
Yeah, then that would be probably your prototypical patch over situation where they finally realize that Cam, although lovable and things, is at a different spot in his career than he was in 2015. So yeah, that would be probably they're at 2 and 3 or so, and then they give Lance the nod, or Newton gets hurt. So Lance to the Patriots. Next is Andrew, and you have the Arizona Cardinals with names like Caleb Farley, Jalen Phillips, Christian Barmore, all on the board. What say you, good sir?
So the Cardinals, looking at their depth chart, they are currently in cornerback hell. Their current lock to start is Malcolm Butler. I think the opportunity to get a talent like Caleb Farley, which in a normal draft year could be, a top 10 pick, they're going to take them there. That's great value for them. And frankly, they probably get their Patrick Peterson replacement there as well.
And that's Farley?
Yeah, Farley at 16.
All right, Virginia Tech, Caleb Farley goes to the Cardinals. And point of order, we had Ron and I had Troy Williamson on our show about a month ago now, right after Randy Moss. How apropos. And he predicted J.C. Horn would fall to this spot. And there's a South Carolina pipeline there. That's why we talked about it in general. So indeed, you have it right that a corner goes there. So let's lock him into the Cardinals. And Cody, we're back at you with the Las Vegas Raiders. Notorious for doing stupid stuff. Are you on brand, or are you going to make this one smarter for them?
I say they go with Christian Barmore, D tackle out of Alabama.
Now, Wes, you one of your close friends is a Raider fan, and you live out in the neck of the woods. Do they need a 3-tech?
Let Maurice Hurst go. So
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
okay. I can't really
They-
knock
Yeah.
him for that pick either, because Barmore's a stud. But sorry, Wes, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I don't know if it would necessarily be a need this early, but I mean, it's the Raiders, so they'll do whatever they see fit.
Yeah, it's usually what we say at times like this. All right, I am up with the Dolphins, who I don't care about at all. But that's not what this is about. Let's see. Oh, I know they need a linebacker. I am going to go a linebacker, but I can't decide between Zaven Collins and J.O.K. from Notre Dame. Oh boy. I'm going to go Zaven Collins to the Dolphins, and that will be pick number 18. And we are up to Washington. Is that Ron?
Yeah, that would be.
Finally, I remembered it, huh?
I should just know that I follow you on here. So, well, I guess, man, can't say I'm too familiar with what Washington is.
Isn't it
doing
funny that we
because-
know absolutely everything that happens before the Vikings pick, and then after that we're like, oh, who cares? I'm not sure.
It's more so like because, well, again, Daniel Snyder's a wild card in that sense as well. But no, there's no glaring like sexy names that are jumping off the board. But I think in their situation that they're at with last year losing Trent Williams and Brandon Scherf, seemingly on the outs with the franchise tag, no pun intended. But I think this would be a good spot for them to get Elijah Vera Tucker, who I do have higher than Tevin Jenkins. And I think his versatility on the line, whether that's taking over as a tackle or as a guard for, either Brandon Scherf spot or not. But I think that would be a good pick for them to solidify and improve that offense a little bit.
Okay, so AVT goes to the spot where Kirk Cousins used to quarterback. I only say that because he's supposed to go to the Vikings in oodles and dozens of mock drafts. So he now goes to Washington. And then let's see, that brings us to Tanishka, and she has the Chicago Bears. Have fun.
I'm gonna go
Kicker,
Tevin
right?
Jenkins. I wish. I'll go Tevin Jenkins here. I feel like he's just a perfect scheme fit for them, and they seem to be locked into Dalton at least for this year. So get him to protection and see how he does.
Fantabulous. All right, so the Bears now have a tackle, and that brings us to their cross-state mate, the Indianapolis Colts, with the 21st pick, and we are down to Wes, who deprived the Vikings of Trey Lance. What do you got, sir?
Let's see. The Colts, they need a tackle, defensive back, and a wide receiver. This might be a good spot for. I don't even see him on here.
Yeah, that's what happened with me at JC Horn.
Yeah. I can't even think. Oh, let's do Asante Samuel Jr.
Oh, yeah, no, I got to go find him.
He was like down on number 60.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Yeah, sometimes this thing is sensitive. All right, so the bloodline went to the Colts, and that is up at the top again to Abi and the Titans.
I think the Titans would like to go cornerback here, but they might not be able to resist taking Jeremiah Uzukomor here. So I think that's what I'm going to go.
That's the pick. All right, JOK from Notre Dame to the Titans. And now we are to the Jets and Drew, their second pick of the night. What are they going to put with their shiny new quarterback, sir?
Apparently, I'm Douglas. I'm just their GM. I'm taking both these picks. Given the value here at 23, they're going to take Kwity Paye. I don't see a top 15 talent this far into the draft. Douglas is just going to be like stroking his beard, like super stoked that Kwity Paye is still there at 23. So Kwity Paye is the pick.
All right, Paye is the other, probably, depending on how many mock drafts you follow, the most mocked player to the Vikings. And so now he tumbles all the way to the Jets. And now we're
getting litty with Kwity, man.
You won't be able. You'll have to move. You'll have to move and print your shirts there.
Yeah, just a different colored T-shirt. The graphics are done. Don't even worry about it.
All right. So the Steelers at number 24. That is Cody.
Steelers, no question about it. They need a running back. Najee Harris out of Alabama.
Okay.
Running pick.
First running back of the night, takes 24 spots, and he goes to the Steelers because actually Wes and I was about 2 weeks ago, we're doing something with the Steelers on air, and we were like, who's their running back? We were like, Benny Snell. We were like, ooh, and that was it. So it makes sense here that they now have a keynote name to go with them. And that brings me to another team I don't care about whatsoever, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars, who basically need
everything.
Well, yeah, it says wide receiver, but another thing that Wes and I talk about on the show is how they have like 4 to 5 dudes that are all about the same caliber of good after Chark, but I guess some of those guys scattered this free agency. Let's keep the Florida connection and go Jalen Phillips to Jacksonville. That brings us to Ron and the Kevin Stefanski led Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, so I don't understand why on here it says that they need an edge. Now, Jadeveon Clowney had a total of 3 sacks more than I have in the last 2 years, so that may be part of it. But given, again, the way the board's falling, I feel that Stefanski is comfortable with the offense. The offensive line is great. They have the running game, have the receivers. I think bolstering the defense in another way and getting a cornerback opposite of Ward to kind of just continue growth there, because I don't think Greedy Williams has really worked out, but I think Greg Newsome would be a good fit for that team.
All right, Newsome from Northwestern, Rashawn Slater's teammate, goes to Cleveland. And that brings us to Tanishka with the other purple team, the Baltimore Ravens. And you are on the clock, ma'am.
Yeah, this is an easy one. I got Azeez Ojulari. The Ravens lost like all of their starting edges this offseason, so they need pass rush really badly.
Yeah, and
No
nobody
wide
really,
receiver.
Not yet.
yeah, nobody really talks about that Ravens edge thing. That's one on my list to write about for franchise tag, that they scattered. And I think it's just because we trust the Ravens defensive credo that we're like, yeah, they'll be fine. But yeah, they're all gone. And let's see. So we're going to get him off the board. Azeez goes to Baltimore. And that Wes, that brings you to New Orleans, and another team that needs quite a lot because their salary cap disabled them from retaining a bunch of men. Who do you got for the Saints at 28?
I have Rashad Bateman, and I'm going to go throw up now.
Okay, that's what we get for taking Jefferson last year, though.
A Gopher heads southward to New Orleans, and at the top again is Abby with the Green Bay Packers. Speaking of throwing up,
Probably going to go offense somehow, but can't decide between Leatherwood or Elijah Moore here. So.
Okay, fair enough. We got time. We're moving at a nice little pace.
I think they'll finally address a wide receiver.
Okay.
For the first time in years.
Yeah.
Take Elijah Moore here.
All right. Ole Miss, Elijah Moore goes to Wisconsin. I was going to say good luck, but I don't mean it. So Drew, Buffalo, AFC Championship participants. So they have the 30th pick. Who do you got heading to join Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs?
Yeah. So just looking at team needs, defensive end, cornerback, center. Going Landon Dickerson,
okay.
Alabama.
Let me get him number 36 for you TD inners. He goes off the board to Buffalo, and because the Ravens dealt Orlando Brown to the Chiefs, that means they have an extra pick, which came by the way of the Chiefs, and that is pick 31, and that goes to Cody.
Well, time to get Lamar Jackson a target out wide. And let's go with Terrence Marshall Jr.
Oh, okay.
LSU.
What number is he on the draft network, Wes?
40.
I think he was like 40.
Yeah, I think he was 40.
Yeah.
All right, so if you believe in the efficacy of the draft network, they're stretching a bit, but that's not necessarily our problem. And then that me selecting for the champs. All right, so how can the rich get richer here? I just drafted a safety last year, which we know all about, so it won't happen again. I don't need a tackle. God, the team's just set.
Yeah, this is the best player available for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Strictly a value pick.
I'm looking at it here, and it's just tricky because they don't need any damn thing. I'm going to go, if it's best player available, I'm going to go Trevon Moehrig. That's probably said wrong, TCU, even though they just drafted a safety last year. Screw it. Let's do it. And that's the end of the first round. We've got plenty of time to do the second round. And that is Ron. You are up with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So let's see. What did we fill for needs for them? So we got
Edge and
okay.
quarterback.
So I think now, like you said, they as far as offense, their wide receivers after Chark, a little to be determined and a lot of similar guys, but I think you invest the number 1 pick in a franchise quarterback, you got to keep him upright. And based on what is here, I think Samuel Cosmi is the best fit as a potential future left tackle, and that's also Cam Robinson. I feel like even they believe is better suited to be an inside guy. So Cosmi gives him that flexibility to be able to do that. So that's who I'm going with here.
Cosmi. Let's find him.
He was
39.
Yeah.
Number 39, and that brings us to Tanishka. And this is the team you like, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, inexplicably she likes the Jets, so she gets a little not hometown, but a little favoritism bias. Who are you sending for the Jets' 3rd pick of the night?
I'm going with Creed Humphrey here. They need interior O-line really badly to actually like help put stuff around Zach Wilson, which they failed to do around Darnold.
All right, fair enough. And that's Creed Humphrey to your New York Jets, evidently. Wes, you are at the Falcons at pick overall number 35.
Yes, and it says tight end is their only need, which is ludicrous because I know on the defensive side of the ball they have holes. They are going to follow the Tampa Bay blueprint, and they will add another linebacker, Davis out of Kentucky, to pair with. Is it Jones?
Deion Jones.
Yeah.
Is Davis a non-edge?
Yeah, he's a typical linebacker.
All right, cool. All right. Then he goes to the Atlanta Falcons. And that brings us to the Miami Dolphins and Abi.
I think they will help out their defense and draft Jason Owe here.
Oh, okay. From Penn State. Owe goes off the board to Miami. And that brings us to the number 37 pick overall. Drew, you probably have something witty to say here. What is it?
No, I got caught up in the sauce. Who was that last pick? I was reading and I got lost. Who just went?
Jason Owe.
Jason Owe to Miami.
Got it. Okay, cool. God, dude, no, the Eagles. I mean, we took Waddle. Like if I'm really guessing, I'm assuming that Howie's traded this pick like 6 times already because that's just the way that they operate.
There it is.
Looks like skill position players are their biggest need. We addressed one. They need a tight end bad, but who is here that there's real value? We may be doing too many things here, but if he's there at 37, I actually think they take Rondell Moore.
Oh, okay. That's another damn one I have to go find. 45 on TDN boards. So yeah, they've
doubled up.
My goodness. Yeah, now they have 3
speed.
wide receivers. Yeah, they have speed, and they have 3 wide receivers that they didn't have when the playoffs ended in the 2019 season. So that brings us to Cody and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh.
It gets trickier, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's see. Bengals drafted Penei Sewell. And I think just to keep Joe Burrow upright, they are going to take Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State.
Excellent. I was going to ask you guys what happened with him. Did he get hurt or something? Because when the Vikings started to go pear-shaped at 1-5 and the offensive line was the offensive line, he was supposed to be like a top 10 pick. What the hell happened to him?
He originally opted out and then opted back in, and then was very underwhelming in that, especially, I think again, whoever in the college football playoffs, he didn't look good at all. I think it was Barmore that ate his lunch, but it's one of those. It's weird because like a Sewell will get a pass and he didn't play an entire year at all. So, but I don't know.
All right. Let's see. For the Panthers, I'm up. We went JC Horn to them. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
So.
Then they can get a tackle at this spot. It isn't probably quite as good as they could have had, but I'm going to go Alex Leatherwood from Alabama to the Panthers, and he can protect Sam Darnold, who is Tanishka's boy. All right, Ron, you're up with the Denver Broncos.
Right. I think, again, the way it kind of has fallen, and with picking a quarterback for them, which I think would happen at 9 if that's the case, they definitely need help on the interior of their defense, mainly on that second level. And I'm just throwing darts at the wind because I don't know who would be the best bet, but I can't find him now. The LSU linebackers, Jabril Cox. There, he's at 59 on here.
59, my goodness. 59, that'll work. Jabril Cox to the Denver Broncos. And that takes us to Tanishka with the Detroit Lions at number 41. And what do you got?
This is a tricky one, but I think because they need basically everything. But I think I'm gonna go with a corner here.
Okay.
I'll take Eric Stokes. They lost Trufant to the Bears in the offseason, and Okuda hasn't looked good, but then no one does with Patricia. But they get a nice young duo here.
Oh, okay. I just had this epiphany that if listeners are apt with this Draft Network site, you can go search a player by name. So I'm sitting here scrolling and scrolling. You just search a player by his name. Bada bing. Your humble host doesn't know shit. All right. Then where are we at? Wes with the Giants, as Jerry Jones calls them, the Giants.
After going tackle in round 1, they're going to focus on the other side of the ball. They will go Boogie Basham from Wake Forest for some interesting training camp battles with Slater.
All right. Then that is Abby. You are up with the San Francisco 49ers, who we sent Mac Jones to earlier in the evening. You are up, sir.
Quinn Miners, pretty solid team, but I think they like having defensive line depth here. So they'll take Joe Tyron.
All right. He was kind of, if you go by the Draft Network's predictive board, he would have been one that fell. And so the Niners scoop him up. He was the 26th best prospect per their predictive board. And now he heads westward to Wes's hometown. And Andrew, you are up for the Dallas Cowboys. What do you got?
Yeah, is Brandon Browning still on the board, correct? Linebacker out of Ohio State.
Yep.
Yes.
I think that's who they're taking. Ohio State historically has run a defense with pretty athletic linebackers, except for old boy who got absolutely torched by Devontae Smith in the Super Bowl or in the national championship game. My favorite thing, this is an aside, my favorite thing about college football is every one of those players that played in the national championship game is probably the best player that's ever come out of their high school. But like college football is one of those cool worlds where like one guy's going to be like a 10-year NFL pro and the other guy's like an auto collision attorney in his hometown, like immediately after his career's over. And like we saw those two worlds merge on like one play. Anyways, I'm taking Baron Browning here.
Oh no, that it reminds me of the speech that I gave Ron about 2 months ago. Somebody was on, some Viking guest, and I talked about how, or maybe this was US, I can't remember. Texas is this bastion of high school football. It's like, more important than college football and Friday Night Lights and all that stuff. And then collegiately, they never win national championships. They've won one in like 45 years. You would think that if there's so much homegrown talent in Texas, once in a while they would stay at A&M or UT and win championships there, but they never win national championships.
I think it's when we had Roy Williams on the Lions week. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And I fully get the fact that they scatter for recruiting purposes and all that and SEC, but it's just weird that I would expect that stat to be something like, oh, they've only won 4 or 5 times out of the last 45 years, but nope, it was Vince Young and Vince Young alone. All right, so we had Browning to Dallas, and Cody, you are up for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
As far as Jacksonville goes, I've already got the quarterback of the future, tackle to protect him, and a edge rusher. So They probably will give him a weapon. And that weapon, sorry, excuse me.
No, it's no, it's all right.
That weapon will be Kadarius Toney,
Oh, I was gonna
wide
take him.
receiver.
You
of
bastard! I was gonna
Florida.
take him from New England. Now I got to go figure out what the hell the mad scientist will do. Son of a. I just don't know if any wide receivers can be stretched for after that guy. All right, so I'm up. I have New England Patriots, and they already selected Trey Lance, which if this mock draft was going to make news, that would be it because he fell almost halfway through the damn first round. I will take the Clemson running back Travis to Etienne.
Yeah.
Yep, I didn't want to butcher that, so thank you, kind sir. He'll go to New England, and we've talked about on air that New England always has this reputation for greatness, rightfully so. But in drafting, it's really not all that great. So I'm going to take them doing a running back here because Tony's off the board, and that brings us to Ron. You have the Chargers.
I mean, I know we said no trades and all, but this is I think Slick Rick's calling my phone right now because Rousseau would be, too good. This is a good spot to snag him, but obviously, leaving it as where we're at, and we're not going to do that. So I know the Chargers have Austin Eckler as a running back, but he's most deadly in the passing game. I think they do need a true downhill guy to pair with that offense, take some pressure off of Herbert, and Javonte Williams at this point is just too great of a value to pass up on. So I think he would be a great fit on that team.
All right, that's Javonte Williams, a running back to pair. Let's see, in Los Angeles with Austin Eckler, and that brings us to Tanishka with the Raiders.
Ooh, okay. I am going to go Liam Eichenberg here.
Okay.
They cut like their entire offensive line or traded or whatever. So I guess they definitely need to get back on that, and they went defense round 1, so they add here.
And that must be their plan because they whimsically did indeed do what you just described. And, most Raider fans were like, all right, we're getting rid of. And these aren't like dudes that are like Dakota Dozier and stuff. These were dudes that are solid players. And for some reason, they're like, no, we're going to start from scratch. So the idea must be they're going to fortify depth chart through the draft because we know damn well that the free agency offensive linemen are dwindling. So it must be an offensive line draft for the Raiders. Wes and the Cardinals at number 49.
I think if one of those two running backs was available, they would go here for the Cardinals. But since they're both off the board, I say they double down on defensive back and go Aaron Robinson, UCF.
Okay. And he is off the board now. And they have 2 corners now after Patrick Peterson left. And we're at the top again. Abby and the Dolphins. Have you already had them tonight?
Yeah, from a while back.
All right. Let's hear what you got again.
I think they're going to want to get some offensive line help and protect Tua, and they'll take Dylan Raduns out of North Dakota State.
Ooh, okay. A name we know a lot about. Dylan goes off the board. Trey Lance's pal. He goes to Miami southward. And now we are up with Drew and the Washington football team.
I think the Washington football team, Ron Rivera, defensive head coach, they're building something there. You can see that with Chase Young and the way they played last year. I think linebacker, particularly in the center, is going to be something important for them. I'm going to take Jamin Davis out of Kentucky.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone?
Yep.
Oh my God. See, this is what I get, man. I'm reading and
What are you? Are you just reading like a novel, or are you reading draft stuff?
I'm reading draft stuff, man.
Oh, I thought you had Crime and Punishment at your beck and call.
I've got 6 screens up here, man. I'm in a war room.
It's not doing the trick, buddy.
If that is the case, I still think they stick linebacker. I think you can get good value here. Cameron Mcgrown out of Michigan.
What's his name?
Cameron Mcgrown. He's out of
Cameron. I
Michigan.
thought you said Kim. Okay.
No. Another big-bodied, corn-fed Big Ten linebacker. He's going to fit right in with Ron up there. I think it's a good fit.
All right. Number 101 on your program, but number 1 in our hearts. The Cameron is off the board, and that gives us Cody and the Monsters of the Midway. Chicago Bears 52. What do we got?
Let's see. So far, they have drafted Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle. Oh. Looking at them on Pro Football Focus. I say defensive back Fiatu Melifonwu. Is that how you pronounce his name?
No idea.
Yeah.
What are the first 3 letters of his first name?
78. Number 78.
Okay.
Cornerback out of Syracuse.
All right. Does anybody know anything about him? I don't.
Just assume I have no idea, but
Yeah.
I wonder if he's related to. There was a Melifonwu who was drafted by the Patriots a few years back and then played with the Raiders. Big cornerback, much like this, but never mounted to anything. So
Well, he's good in zone, and that's what the Bears run, so it's probably a good fit.
good reason he's at Syracuse. He must play basketball.
All right. That brings me to the Titans. They don't have Clowney anymore. That experiment never got off the ground. I'm going to go Ronnie Perkins, edge rusher from Oklahoma, to Mike Vrabel's team. And we are to Ron and the Colts.
All right, so the Colts, obviously they're building something good. Hopefully the quarterback doesn't torpedo it for them.
And they always do smart stuff. So
They do.
Yep.
And I think for them, with losing Costanzo to retirement, protecting Carson Wentz, although he had a great offensive line in Philly and couldn't get together, but their defense is stout. They need some help on that offensive line, and the idea of moving Quentin Nelson to tackle is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because he's so dominant at left guard. Why change that? Just get someone that isn't going to suck next to him. They could have Dozier next to him and he'll be fine. So
maybe this is where you'll pick up your phone and trade.
right.
He can shotgun beers with the best of them. All shotgun first team. I've seen it firsthand.
But I think Brady Christensen here for out of BYU would be a good pick for them to be their future or their franchise left tackle of the future. So
all right, and if it's Colts and Ballard taking them, that means that it's probably wise. I've seen some folks on Twitter that love Christensen, and some say they want nothing to do with him. And I don't know what the variance is,
and
but
I think that's where this is the spot where you put him next to Quentin Nelson, and it's going to help ease the transition a lot easier.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Tanishka, you've got Mike Tomlin's team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, at number 55. We've got about 9 picks left.
I am going to go Kelvin Joseph here because they lost Steven Nelson. They cut him this offseason, and they just sort of need another starter back there.
All right. Wesley Johnson, you have one of 3 picks. 3 picks that Seattle will make over the weekend, next weekend, week, and that's 56.
This is where Rick calls. This is where Rick calls to go get Russo.
Yeah, wow, yeah, it just keeps tumbling.
But
all right, so we have Rousseau off the board at multiple spots to a phantom team that's not even involved in the second round. Noted. At least we predicted it. But for the parameters of our rules, what do you got?
Russo for Seattle.
Okay, cool. All right, Abby, at least it's not the Dolphins. You've got the Rams, who never have first-round picks ever. And the last time they had one was Jared Goff, and he doesn't even play there anymore. So who do you have for the Rams at 57?
I think with John Johnson leaving to the Browns, they're going to get his replacement, Jamar Johnson out of Indiana.
Okay, find that one.
It's number 62.
Number 62. Okay, that's not too outrageous there. Andrew, the Super Bowl runner-up Kansas City Chiefs get their first pick of the draft, and that will be who?
Yeah, so I would have told you like 2 weeks ago that this would have been an offensive lineman in some form or fashion, but clearly that is no longer the case, as they have every offensive lineman that's been available. So I'm looking at defensive backs. I think Elijah Molden coming out of Washington. He was a safety in college, but he shows as a slot corner, at least in today's NFL. A lot of off coverage, but he had the best one-on-one grade in guarding like seam routes and fades from the slot, which I think is pretty indicative of his ability to cover. So I'm taking Elijah Molden there.
Okay. Molden to the, I'd say, presumptive Super Bowl favorites. I think what they're doing is like a mad dash scramble to get all of these dudes that they can while Mahomes is on the final year of his smaller contract, because when that bad boy pumps in, I think it's the year after this one, then, they're paying him everything. And there's even 1 year in there, Wes, I think we didn't talk about it, but I was going to tell you about it. It's like 2025, 2027, where he gets 60 million.
Yeah.
His cap hit is 60 million. So by that time, who knows what the salary cap will be.
Right.
Cody, you have the Browns.
Yes.
What do you have on your mind?
And let's see. Browns. They've taken just Greg Newsome, right?
Yes.
Okay. Probably a linebacker with this pick.
Okay.
I know they drafted one last year, Jacob Phillips in the third. Let's see, Anthony Walker's 26, but I say Nick Bolton out of Missouri.
Michael's brother, Nick Bolton, goes to the Browns. It was a joke. Nobody caught it.
Got it.
It's like a joke for 30-year-olds is what it is. Yeah. All right. I knew I'd get some team that I didn't care for, and that's me with the New Orleans Saints. And yes, they have needs out the wazoo. I'm going to go Joseph Asai from Texas, edge rusher to the New Orleans Saints, quarterbacked by a twosome of Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill for some godforsaken reason. And we have 4 picks left tonight. Ron, you're up with Buffalo.
Right, and I'm trying to. So they got Dickerson first. So here Buffalo's in a in a good situation. Obviously, with their team, they have talent that they've built through the draft, as well as savvy trades. But I think they still need to get Allen some weapons in the red zone, like as great as Diggs is. There's just not much else there. So I think a tight end would be a good pick, and I think this is actually a reasonable spot to take a tight end. So I personally think Tommy Tremble. I like him over Freiermuth, so I'm going to go with Tremble.
You don't like All-Pro Cole Beasley?
yeah. Peter King, well done there. So,
it's just that one. I don't know how long I'll be on Twitter or how long it will be around, and I'm on it. But I'll always remember that he was a All-Pro player, and it's mind-boggling. All right, Snishby, you're in the spot
Chad
that I was
here
in
this year, then. So,
yeah, you're in the spot I was in a minute ago. I had the Saints, who I dislike. You have the Packers, who you hopefully dislike. What do you got? Third to last pick of the night.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Quinn Miners here. They lost Corey Linsley, best center in football, so they can probably move Miners and have him in at guard his rookie year. He could play center. Like, there's just so many possibilities there, and he stays home in Wisconsin.
Okay,
which no one wants to do.
Interesting fact on the departed Linsley to the Chargers. He's one of the few active players that has an All-Pro selection but no Pro Bowls. He snacks Harrison, and I think there's one other person, but that's just my random brain. Wes, you have the Chefs. I only call them that because my uncle's obsessed with them, so my other uncle makes fun of them by calling them Chefs. What do you got for Patrick Mahomes' team at 63?
They are in need of a wide receiver. It is the second round, and there is a USC wide receiver available. So we will go Amon-Ra St. Brown to the Chiefs. USC receivers do very well in the second round.
I knew I was going to get some sort of homerism from you. Wes is a USC fan, and that was the homerism that he dribbled into the program tonight. But hey, it makes sense. And the last pick of the night, before I give you this, so the rest of you can start thinking about it, I'm going to ask you for one surprise thing that happens on Thursday night. So start thinking about that. Abby, you're going to have the most picks tonight, and that's Abby, excuse me. And you get the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. Who do they take for the Mr. Relevant of our podcast tonight?
On tangent, I think the other player was Jack Conklin, who has all pro and
yes.
Pro Bowl section.
Yes, you are correct. I messed that. I tweeted that, and my dumbass still thought he was on the Titans. Or wait, no, I thought he was still on the. Which one is it? On the Titans? He's on the Browns. Yes, I did it again.
I wrote about the Browns recently, which is why I remember that.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you. Buccaneers to round us out for tonight.
I think they're going to add some more receiver depth, and Diami Brown out of North Carolina.
Ooh, okay. Do they really need wide receiver depth though?
They might as well add to their offense.
I hear you. So notably, Jalen Mayfield didn't make it out of he did make it out of the second round. Levi O, he didn't get picked. I've seen him mocked in the second round multiple times. Am I missing any other big? Like we didn't stretch for Kellen Mond. Any of us? We didn't stretch.
Just for shits and giggles, if everyone has a few minutes, make it to the Vikings pick, see what happens.
Oh, you'd have to motor through them because I don't know if people will listen to this longer than an hour.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Hey, well, let's
teaser if they're Vikings fans.
let's wrap up, and then we can, for those that want to stay, we can do it off air. Let's see, and that includes me. All right, so we'll start. Abby, what's one thing in the first round that will happen that will be like, whoa? I don't care what it is.
I think the Washington football team will trade up to number 4.
Number 4. Okay. All right. So if that's your idea, the rest of you can echo that too. Not just because he had it doesn't mean that you can't say it. Drew, what's the one thing on draft night that will happen?
I think that this is the year. So Bill Belichick stated, 5-6 years ago that he was not going to leave the Patriots with a bad football team. I think this is the year, knowing that the window is short. He's pissed that Brady won a Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So the Brady Bill rankings, Brady's won right now.
Yep.
I think this is the year they make the move. They trade up. I think he trades up to 7. I think they draft Justin Fields.
Ooh, okay.
Presuming he's there.
All right. Yeah, I can see that too. Cody, what do you got for the one interesting thing that happens in the Thursday night?
I think Bill gets a little bit more aggressive, trades up to number 4 to pick Justin Fields.
Okay.
All right.
Just considering how aggressive he was in free agency with signing everybody and their dog.
Well, his dog does the draft, remember?
Yeah.
So that works out perfect. Oh, and then Wes has got one. This will, and he's got the Caruso shirt on too. Yeah. That's a Laker shirt in general. All right. Mine is that the Lions, under new management, new ankle-biting coach, that they're going to do something incredibly shocking or dumb. I think on our show a couple weeks ago, I said Rashawn Bateman would get stretched for that high. That was just an example of the randomness. But I think the Lions at 7 will do something that will make us go, what? And that's my pick. Ron, what's yours?
I think that there will be 5 quarterbacks in the top 10. But with trades, I know a lot of people are thinking that it'll stretch to 15, but I actually think there will be some aggressiveness and go into top 5 or 5 in the top 10.
Okay. And always remember that unless this draft is the unicorn, only 2 of them are going to be good. Right now, we think they're all Christ-like, but 3 of them will be either mediocre or not good. And that's just the way the world works. Tanishka, what do we got?
I think 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. So someone will reach or take Mond or Mills or Trask. I don't know, whoever they think, maybe like Tampa or Chicago. Chicago should do it, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think someone will.
Yeah, somebody tweeted at me and asked me if I thought that the Bears would take the Davis Mills guys in the first round. And I thought I was getting set up for something, and I was like, no. I was like, maybe in the 5th round. But okay, all right. So you got the Bears or somebody.
I know a lot of people who want them to take a quarterback.
Well, that's fine by me. Usually they actually draft pretty well, so if they want to do something silly, not my problem. Wes, what's your shocker?
I read a little blurb about it earlier, and it made a lot of sense. And I'll kind of piggyback on what Ron said. 5 quarterbacks in the top 10, which will mean no defensive player in the top 10.
Ooh, okay. Well, then that leaves the Vikings salivating. So, all right, that's all we got for our 2-round mock draft. I appreciate everybody joining, and I appreciate all of you listeners out there. We'll probably be back, Wes and I, on Tuesday night for not a mock draft, but just a weekly event show about all the news. That's all we got, and peace. All right, you guys want to do this Vikings thing? Can any of you guys want to fall off, or?
I'm gonna fall off. I still got
fall off.
dinner.
All right, Wes, I'll let you know who we pick.
All right.
Yeah, me too.
All right, that's cool. I'll holler. All right,
All right,
so
bye.
we are at the 3rd round, and let's see, Andrew, you've got Jacksonville.
I do have Jacksonville. God, who do we take there? Yeah, I'm not on camera now, so no, we're not recording now.
Nope, no, this will be well, actually, no, this will be on camera.
Well, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, it will, because when I send it over to Joe, he won't have the time to splice it all up. So this will actually be on camera, but it won't be on the podcast.
Got it. Again, just another team with so many needs. I think just purely value here, they take Levi O based on how this fell.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Cody, the Jets. You can just give a name. We don't need a big synopsis.
Okay.
Unless you want to give a big synopsis.
Oh no, that's all good. Okay, the Jets have taken, let's see, Creed Humphrey, Kwity Paye, Zach Wilson. Oh, Richie Grant, safety out of UCF.
All right, and that brings me to the Texicans, and I'll go Amari Rodgers, Clemson.
First pick of the day.
It was what?
Their first pick.
Oh yeah, nice. Ron, you got the Falcons.
All right, the Falcons, they lost Keanu Neal on the back end, and their defense is terrible. So Javon Holland would be a good fit.
All right.
Wait, who did the Texans take again?
Amari Rodgers.
Amari Rodgers. And that you're up again, Ami, because the other two dropped off.
I think the Bengals will take Tylan Wallace.
Ooh. Jared likes him, Jared Barsness, I think, or at least he wrote a draft profile about him. Andrew, you got the Eagles.
Oh God, why do I keep? Why I'm not Howie Roseman. What is this? I think they actually take Fryermuth here.
Fryermuth.
They need a tight end. Just let Ertz walk.
I said on our this podcast last week that he sounds like a relief pitcher. His name.
He does.
He sounds like
110%.
Yeah, like he's got glasses on and he's pitching. Yeah, that's. Cody, you got the Bronx, the Mules.
Yeah. Let's see. Gotta go Pro Football Focus quick.
Sure.
Jalen Mayfield.
Ooh, okay.
Offensive tackle.
They've always got a stout offensive line in that town. Oh, I got the Lions. Yay. Let's see. They need a tackle. I could spoil it and have Mon taken here as contingency for. I'll do Davion Nixon from Iowa to the Lions. Carolina Panthers, Ron.
All right.
And then when we get to the Vikings, we'll all say what we think. We don't have to, that person, whoever that is, I haven't even calculated it, but we can all speculate what it'll be.
So the Titans, they secretly do kind of need some weapons on the outside, like with losing Samuel to Washington.
The
But
Titans or the Panthers?
wait, sorry.
You said
I'm
Titans.
on the. Did I say Titans? I meant sorry. I meant
No,
Panthers.
that's all right.
I don't even see Titans on my screen. Don't know what I'm thinking. That's just it's late on a Sunday night. So, but I think there isn't a wide receiver here that I think complements what they want to do or what they have at this point in the draft. So I think for their sake, is just getting big up front. Last year, first round pick with Derrick Brown. Obviously he played extremely well and he's a very talented player, but I think they need to pair someone alongside of him. So I think Tommy Togai is a good pairing for him.
Okay. He goes to the Panthers. That brings me to Washington. And I'm going to say wide receiver here. Is there a better cornerback? No, I don't know who Paulson Idabo is. Nico Collins, Michigan to Washington.
I actually like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did I go out of turn? I think I did. My bad. Abby, you're next.
Cowboys.
Who?
The Cowboys, right?
Yes. I screwed
okay.
I screwed for the first time tonight. I screwed something up. The order anyhow.
I think they'll go and take Spencer Brown out of Northern Iowa.
Spencer Brown, tackle to the Cowboys. Drew, you've got the Giants. Another East Coast team for you.
I do, man. I work with people from New Jersey and New York, so I talk about them more than I should. I should be like fired up and ready to go right here. God, wide receiver, quarterback, linebacker. Sorry, I'm also going to Pro Football Focus.
Amazing how lack of combine and a lot of these guys, like I just have no clue who they are. Like
Yeah.
at least at the combine, you can see some film on them, see their measurements. Now it's like their names on a board.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Going corner. Wow, the Draft Network's player rankings are all over the board, man. God. He's a bit of a stretch. I'm Paulson Adebo. He's 73rd on TDN's board. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. PFF has him ranked way lower than that. But long, athletic, fluid corner, good hips. That fits their MO.
Okay. Cody, you have the Chargers, and then we'll all do the Vikings.
Okay, so Chargers went Darrisaw and Javonte Williams. Let's see. Guess a linebacker. Dylan Moses out of Alabama, I guess.
Dylan Moses, linebacker. All right, so then we're all up for the Vikings. Although I do believe it's believable that the Vikings would not pass up Micah Parsons. There was some spot that I recorded that I predicted that as well, so I can't fault him for doing that. We're in a nasty spot for the Vikings because they need edge and offensive line still, and some of the names that we thought might fall haven't all this way. So I think,
And if this is strictly how it plays out, where like not against Micah Parsons, but if Rick doesn't, which I think he will, but if this is what looks like on over the
Mhm.
weekend, that's a fireable offense, in my opinion,
Yeah.
to
It'd
not
be pretty
address either of
disappointing.
those in the second. Yeah. So
Yeah,
well,
big fact.
linebacker and then nothing else. Oh, we're good. So
Yeah, and that's just more ammo for him trading back from 14 to like,
Yeah.
19, 20, 21 or something.
right.
Yep.
I'd say he has to take the best available
Especially if
edge on
Lance
this
is
board.
there.
So I'd
Especially
go,
if Lance is there, he's probably trading back.
I'd say probably Peyton Turner here because and he's probably not a day one starter, so it'd be Weatherly. And then either that or Cleveland. What do you guys think?
I think it's got to be the offensive line
Mhm.
at this point. And now I know Cleveland's a bigger guy, but we've talked about with Bryant in terms of zone blocking being only really a running part issue.
Yeah.
And when you have Dalvin Cook in the game, like I feel like you can get by with a little bit of a scheme deficiency. So I do like Ben Cleveland. Now I don't know if his fit is right here, but at this point that would kind of be what you got to do.
Yeah.
This is where I would hit restart and start the draft over.
Yeah. What about the rest of you?
Yeah, I think I'd go Ben Cleveland as well.
Okay.
Yeah, double up on Cleveland. Cleveland squared.
If you're gonna get a guy that's gonna suck, you might as well just get a massive human that's gonna suck.
Yeah. So 2 Clevelands in the offensive line. This one was drafted in the city of Cleveland, and bada bing. Yeah, but yeah, I think that Ron, on what you're saying, that's incredibly true. That this just won't happen. If he's gonna not, if they can't resist Parsons, then they're gonna have to start packaging the thirds and the fourths to get into the end of the first round or the second round before this, or leverage next year's second round. Because the way that they've set it up, unless they have undercover plans that nobody's talking about to get Eric Fisher and Try Turner and all these dudes, then I agree that this doesn't feel like the way that Rick would lead the board.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we think they take Trey Lance since he did fall?
I think they would.
Yeah,
I wish there was a way to like talk to him for 5 minutes to figure out if he loves Cousins or if he's like, because that is the pivotal point. If he
with Lance, you just let him sit until Cousins' contract runs out.
Yeah, that's true. But if he really thinks that Cousins is spectacular, then then he's only 32, 33.
Yeah.
There's no reason. Like, you've got Cousins good for 7 more years, but I just don't know. And I'm jaded too, because I see all the hate, and then I see the people that absolutely adore him. I don't know. That would be the thing to figure out if he perceives Cousins as like Drew Brees in New Orleans after the Chargers, then we have absolutely no need. But if he's saying like, oh yeah, this Cousins thing is 1 or 2 more years max, then you absolutely grab Lance. Anything else from any of yous?
Feel about Jackson Carman out of Clemson at that spot. If that's honestly how everything fell. 330 pounds,
Yeah.
tackling college, maybe a guard in the league. But he showed he could move well. PFF, he graded out really well. And I would argue the Ohio State game, which they got throttled, was probably his best game, just in terms of depth on pass sets, etc. So
Yeah.
are we sold on Ben Cleveland and just being a giant, massive human, or do you take someone like Carman that
offensive lineman
has more
here?
upside?
Yeah.
What's that?
Looks like Carmen's listed very similar size to Cleveland. So
Yeah.
I mean, and who knows? Like I never understand does Lawrence make his offensive line better? Like, I don't follow, and I watch the big games obviously, but or the ACC competition with lack of rushers that the SEC would have. So I have no idea, but I mean, a starting offensive or starting left tackle on a team that has been in contention, that seems like a good play if this is how it fell.
This is how it plays out, sure.
Yeah, wouldn't be mad at all.
Say they should just take whichever lineman they like, but knowing their history, it's probably not going to be a good one.
Well, then that's the thing. Like, especially if they wait till the fourth they miss ridiculous, like Willie Beavers, who are with TJ Clemmings.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, like I said, fire as big of a Rick Spielman fan as I am. If they have 0 offensive linemen to this point, fire him.
Especially when there was a run on offensive lineman earlier. He probably should have traded up.
Right.
and-
Yeah.
You just can't end the draft with needing 2 starters on anywhere. So
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to go chop this up and send the video part to Joe. And I can tell you that the podcast part will be live in about 45 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Sounds
Thanks for
good.
your time.
Awesome, guys. See you guys.
Later.
have a good one,
Yeah.
guys.
See you.